Hey guys, Lotus for Life here, bringing guys a quick little post-update video thing. Just to kind of let you know, this video was meant to come out a year ago. Probably even longer than that. I don't know, it feels longer, but it really wasn't. Anyway, so yeah, this video has been sitting on my computer for a year, waiting to be edited and put together, and I just haven't been able to, partly because I did not know how to edit, and also due to my life situation. So I have been, ever since I got Filmora, I've been going crazy with the editing, and I hope you guys like it. This video was a lot of fun to make with my friend Joe, and you guys have been wanting more of it. So just wanted to let you know though, this video is over a year old. Or almost a year old. I don't know exactly when we made it. So if anything in it seems outdated, like for instance I mentioned the meta back then a lot, that's why, okay? Just letting you guys know so you don't think that, oh, what the hell is he talking about here? That's also why my video quality is a lot worse than it is now, because now I have an actual HD camera, not a pseudo HD camera. So anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's been one you guys have been requesting for a long time. Thank y'all, and enjoy the video. Hello everybody, Lotus for Life here with my buddy Joe.
Hi.
Back by much request. You guys have been asking quite a bit for another one of these. A Magic player reacts to Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and this time I promise I'm actually gonna like go and overlay the edits of the cards on these, because I'm figuring out how to work with Zony Vegas, and that's a bit of a goal of mine for something else too, so gotta figure it out. But anyways, this time we're going to try and keep it smaller, because last time the videos ran for way too long. And so we're doing about 10 or so cards. I think I've actually got 12 here because I added 2 in for the hell of it.
Okay.
If you want to add 2 in too, I don't know. So this is going to be the Magic player.
Hi.
So for those who missed out on the other ones or haven't seen yet, tell us about yourself.
I'm Joe. I have known you for...
You can call me by my name, people.
Really, really long time.
Since like 5th grade.
Yeah, and I've been playing Magic for about 9 years, give or take, now. Mm-hmm. Currently that's a little bit of a rocky relationship. And it's very expensive, and so I mostly just theory craft Magic at this point, which I'm sure is a all too familiar feeling for a lot of people out there, because cardboard's expensive, y'all.
And what's your knowledge on Yu-Gi-Oh?
What you've shown me. I watched the first season of the anime, like back when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of, like, you know, Seto Kaiba and that whole thing. I briefly played Yu-Gi-Oh when I was in like 5th grade. So around the time that we met, and then I never touched it ever again, and the last time I saw the anime there were motorcycles, and I was very confused. And aside from the cards you've shown me and very vague, confusing conversations about what the meta looks like, and cards that have been banned, and new mechanics, and I don't know much else. Yeah. Yeah,
and I'm much in the same way with Magic. You've actually taught me how to play Magic.
I did teach you how to actually play Magic, and you've refreshed me on how to play Yu-Gi-Oh a few times. Yeah, and I probably will have to later next year too, because they're going to probably add another mechanic now, and I'm not looking forward to it. But that's a topic for another video. So today we got 12-ish cards to go over, and I've picked some good ones I think you'll get a kick out of. I don't think I've shown him any of these before. The past videos are like an hour long, and I'm not in the mood to go and click through and hear everything. I know for a fact certain cards I did show them, so let's start off with this one. Okay, Mischief of the Time Goddess. That's a spell, and I recognize that symbol means it's an activate. It's not like a continuous effect.
It's a quick play.
It's a quick play.
You can activate it during your first turn if you set it first.
Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Okay, that's a mechanic in Magic called Split Second. We have that.
Yeah, we have no keywords in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Cannot be activated as a Chain Link 2 or higher. I don't know what that means.
Chain Link is in, like, so your opponent activates a card and then you can chain another card to it. So you cannot activate this card in response to another card.
Okay, alright, cool. At the end of your battle phase, if all monsters you control are Valkyrie monsters, minimum of 1, send this card to the graveyard. Also, immediately after this effect resolves, skip to the start of the battle phase of your next turn
If you do, you cannot activate Mischief of the Time Goddess until the end of that turn. So it just gives you an extra combat phase,
basically,
essentially, is what it does.
Yeah, but it also skips technically to the next turn, so if like you set
any end of turn effects would trigger. Yeah. Okay. Okay, alright.
Well, because it skips the end of turn effects don't count.
Oh, they don't happen, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, because it bypasses, because the end of the turn never happened. There's some Magic interactions that do stuff like that. Yeah, that's you change the wording, that's a Magic card. that could totally be, I will say, would probably be like a red card, most likely. And probably like a 4 to 5 mana instant with split second.
Yeah, so... do you think this card would... So, as you may remember, I told you there are banned cards that you can't play at all, limited cards that you can play one of, and semi-limited cards that you can only play 2 of. Do you think this card is on any of those?
God, okay, let's see here. In Magic, this is a perfectly reasonable card. This would see play. This actually might not even be that good of a card in Magic. Getting able to avoid end of turn effects can be pretty good. I can see this being probably a niche sideboard card that probably would blow out a couple of decks that rely on end of turn effects. I know you mentioned that the meta is currently, if I can't kill you now, I'll just wait and kill you later, which sounds great. I'm going to say 2 of. It's limited to 2 of. I'm going to say 2.
So this card's at 3.
Is it 3?
Mostly because the archetype it's excluded to, which is Valkyries.
Oh, that's right. It's specific to Valkyries, yeah.
Valkyries is not a particularly great archetype. They are not meta even rogue. And if that card was in any other good archetype, it would be banned. There's only maybe 2 other cards in the game that allow you to skip your opponent's turn or do anything like that where you get double battle phases. And one of them, I don't believe is legal at all. The other is a 2 tribute monster that is entirely reliant on a coin flip. And you got to tribute 2 monsters to do it a second time. So you got to summon him by tributing 2 monsters, then tribute 2 more monsters to do it again.
I could talk about coin flip cards forever. I have a deck based around explicitly coin flips only. It's so beautiful. Oh man, it's great. And extra combat turn effects are fairly common in Magic. There's quite a lot of effects that do that.
Yeah, stuff like that in Yu-Gi-Oh is basically non-existent.
Okay. I guess I missed the Valkyrie part of it because the fact that it's tied to an archetype should keep me into the fact that this card probably is either very good, very bad.
Yeah,
that's a good signifier.
Yeah. Now they actually nerfed and boosted that card quite a bit from the anime. In the anime, it didn't have your opponent can't chain to it, so your opponent could negate it. Okay. But however, in the anime, it was free to use in any archetype. So at the end of battle phase, activate this, attack again, basically.
I could see that being banned likely also. Yeah.
Alrighty. Now we got the school card.
Alright, Delinquent Duo, spell card. Pay 1,000 life points. If your opponent discards 1 random card, and if they have any other cards in their hand, discard 1 more card of their choice. There is a card that does this exact effect in Magic. Yes, almost exactly. Actually, I have a card very similar to this that I will be showing you. I'm gonna say this card is very simple. It forces a discard of 2 cards. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this card's either like restricted or banned, one of the two. Like this card has got to be so like basic that if your opponent's got 2 cards, you just get rid of both of them. Or I'm gonna say this is either a one of or gone.
You're correct. It's banned. It's been banned since like 2006. Around there. The hand advantage in Yu-Gi-Oh is much more important than it is in most other card games. So draw cards, discarding cards, stuff like that typically is a bit more restrictive. So Delinquent Duo has been gone for a very long time and probably will never come back without an errata. And then we got a card that was actually one of the cards that I got requested to show you.
I just saw a lot of really small text. I just glanced and saw a lot of really small text.
So this one,
boy.
This one is Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic.
Oh boy, alright. Pardon me for not reading this aloud right away. I'm gonna have to take some time to process this. Oh god, okay. Okay, alright. right, so it can remove 6 counters from your field, spell counters specifically, to summon this, destroy up to that many cards, or destroy the number of cards in the field equal to the number of spell counters remaining on cards you whatever, and then spell counters on that, use that effect once per turn. Cool, alright. So, pendulum thing, okay. Okay. Okay, alright. Same number of spell counters on this card that the return card had. Spell counter, card effects, destroyed by spell counter, destroy the battle, you can have one normal spell from your deck to your hand. Okay, so this card does a lot. It blows up stuff.
Yeah.
It gives you free negations. It gives you more spell counters, which I assume is a resource spent by other cards, most likely to do other things. And I'm going to assume there's a way to move them from one creature to another. And that when it's destroyed, you can add one normal spell from your deck to your hand, so it lets you tutor. So this card can destroy a bunch of stuff, can negate card effects, can not be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and if it's destroyed by battle, you get to tutor a spell from your deck to your hand.
On top of having really good skill
Yeah.
8 for pendulum monsters. And really good stats too.
Yeah,
2,800.
Yeah, it does a lot of things on one card, all of which sound very good things. I don't know how difficult this is to get onto the battlefield. How difficult is it to get 6 spell counters on the field?
Not very hard at all for the deck he's in.
Okay. And obviously you likely want to have more than 6 spell counters on the field to be able to utilize its field wipe effect. I'm gonna say 1 overband.
It's actually at 3 right now.
Still at 3. Wow,
Yeah,
good.
He's relatively new. He's been out for a little under a year now. And his archetype is all about the spell counters. And
It seemed like a build around theme.
yeah, and actually he's in a deck that is currently somewhere stuck between being meta relevant and not. It's kind of weird. The deck is very capable of putting out multiple negates turn 1, but at the same time, it's not as good as the better decks out there. So it's like a really.
Here's a question.
Uh-huh.
Can negate effects only affect spells?
No.
They can affect monsters as well?
Unless it's explicitly stated on the card
Can't
itself.
negate.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a hard counter. Okay, see, that leads me to believe that this card is actually, if the support around it is good enough, this card is broken as hell.
Yeah.
Is my assumption.
And you're right. Honestly, in the deck that he's in, if they go off and you're not able to stop them with your own stuff, they typically will get 2 of him out along with like 2 other monsters that can negate stuff, and it basically results in a board where you literally cannot play Yu-Gi-Oh!
That sounds what I would assume. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, shows up, wipes your field, and then prevents you from resetting.
The funny thing is that people don't even use the board wipe effect that much. It's mainly getting him on the field with negation and the effect where he cannot be targeted by card effects. Or destroyed by card effects, which is incredibly important.
Protects you from board wipes and from blowouts and things like that.
Yeah, and honestly, the biggest reason why people ask me to show you that card is because currently that thing has the most amount of card text in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah,
At about 184 words.
Yeah, that I need to like get glasses after that. That hurt my eyes quite badly. You're all monsters.
So fun fact, the average human reads at about 150 words a minute, so that thing takes you more than a minute to read. In its entirety.
Yeah. I had to go back and reread sentences.
The worst thing is this whole archetype, the enemy on archetype is all like that. The closest one behind is like 140.
So this is why like Magic has a like hard cap on like the max amount of words that can fit on a card.
The big thing with
Like that's it. Like it can't just this is the limit. No more than that.
the big thing that Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs is keywords.
Caveat except for uncards or things like that are technically silver border, because a few of those have gone way over that word limit intentionally.
So now here is the Golden Castle of Stromberg.
Ooh, shiny, alright.
Yep, very shiny.
Stromberg. It's got a star next to the spell card. Was the
Field spell.
Field spell, right. Cool, so that's a blanket enchantment. Cool.
Yep.
Alright, once per turn during your standby phase, you must banish 10 cards from the top of your deck face down. This is not optional, or this card is destroyed. In your main phase, you can special summon one monster from your deck that specifically lists the card Golden Castle Stromberg in its text. You cannot normal summon, set the turn you activate this effect. When this card leaves the field, you can only use this effect of Golden Castle Stromberg once per turn. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack that monster had on the field. Okay, so it forces you to banish 10 cards from the top of your deck every single turn. What is the minimum deck size? Is there a minimum and max, or is it just one?
There is. So minimum is 40, max is 60. Okay. There used to be an unlimited amount, but then some bozo in Germany brought a deck of like 2,000 cards, and they were like, okay, let's put a max now.
I think Magic's max is, and I think you mentioned this during the Battle of the Wits conversation the last time, is it has to be reasonably shuffled. It has to be a deck you could shuffle by yourself in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
That's the cap. So, but most people would never run more than 60 because at that point you're diluting your deck to a point that's unreasonable to have any consistency. Okay, so at best you have 6 turns with this card. At worst you have 4.
Yeah.
And that's assuming that this is out on turn 1.
Yeah.
And actually you have less than 6 turns because you have your opening hand of cards, so there's no way that you actually have a full 6 turns to survive with this card on the field. If you run out of cards in Yugioh, you lose. Or?
Correct.
Okay.
If you have
same rules.
Yeah. If you have no cards in your deck and you either draw through a card effect or you withdraw for your turn, you lose.
Yes. All right. So this gives you a pretty hard limit. This allows you to once per turn.
Yep.
Summon a monster from your deck, assuming it didn't get nuked. That lists Golden Castle Stromberg in its text. Okay. Can you tell me if there are any monsters that list Golden Castle Stromberg in the text that essentially, if they hit the field, win you the game?
No.
No. What is the average power level of those creatures?
All of them except for one of them. So there's 2 that are level 4 warriors. One drops by 1,000 attack while the other guy's out, but he goes up by 1,000 attack while the other guy's out. So
it's okay.
Yeah, it basically powers up a beater. Then there's it's called the fairy tale archetype because they're all based on fairy tales. So then you got Princess Cinderella. She's like the main card in the archetype. Whenever she's summoned, she equips her glass slippers onto herself from your deck. And while she has it on her, she basically is protected and can attack directly. And then if she can re-equip the glass slippers onto another monster.
So, summary question.
Yeah.
Does this archetype deck rank in the top 10?
No.
Okay. So that's a good hint here.
It is used in a really good casual deck though, called Grenmaju. Grenmaju is a monster that's a level 3 fiend who gains like 400 attack for every banished card, period.
Okay, that makes sense because then this is powering that up instead of...
Yeah. And that destruction effect where destroys any monster your opponent attacks with is not once per turn.
Right, that's every time.
Yeah, effectively making it to where your opponent can't attack unless they have a monster that can't be destroyed by card effects.
Right. This card looks like garbage to me. This card looks like a waste of time and absolute garbage. This looks like, unless the reward of being able to tutor out a card that you might have just nuked by playing this, looks like an absolute waste of time. I'm going to say this is still a 3-of. There's no way that this is
still a 3-of.
any kind of consequences.
Yeah, the strongest monster you can summon off of it is called Hextrude, and it's the boss monster of the deck. It's a level 8 with 2600 attack. It can attack twice, and it can pop a monster. It's a nice card and all, but it's not anything crazy.
The banished 10 cards is worthless.
And they're banished face down, so you can't access them. A card that's banished face down is considered unknown. So
you can't even tell if you've banished the card that you wanted to get.
Yeah. Well, actually, you're allowed to look, but like any card that would interact with a banished card...
Oh, it just doesn't exist in the banished zone.
Yeah, basically.
It's the absolutely removed from the game forever zone.
Kind of. There's a few cards that can interact with them, but they're very niche. With the exception of one synchro monster, and everybody knows what I'm talking about, Cypher Lord Omega, who I don't have actually in this list. Now, fun fact though, there was a lot of hype around that card coming out finally after like 12 years from the anime, because in the anime it was one of the most broken cards in the game.
I'm assuming there was one of the caveats was missing.
So basically, and what most people forgot was that the reason why it was so broken in the anime was because, so basically, this brother was dueling Yugi and he was playing the Fairy Tale deck. Well, his older brother hacked into the systems of the game and changed the card text on Golden Castle. And made it to where your opponent pays the cost. So...
Okay. Yeah, beginning of your standby phase, banish the top 10 cards of your opponent's library face down. And that sounds pretty good.
Not only that, but also in the anime, it wasn't banish the top 10 cards, it was send half your deck that you currently have to the graveyard. So every turn Yu-Gi-Oh would lose half his deck. And then half his deck again and half his deck again.
There's a card that does that. there's a card that does that.
Now, last time I showed you the 3 Egyptian God cards.
Yes, which I was familiar with because I was around for that.
Well, this time we got their GX knockoffs.
Good.
These are the Sacred Beasts.
Okay.
They're from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the second series of the anime. And they're actually going to be getting more support soon, thanks to them winning a poll for a structure deck vote. But I digress. So they're made to be improvements and not as powerful because at the time Konami did not know what to do with the Egyptian God cards and was too scared to print them. So they were made to be easier to summon, but not as powerful versions of the Egyptian God cards.
Okay.
I would argue nowadays they're actually better than the Egyptian God cards because they have better support, but I digress. Okay. Here is Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames.
Okay. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Cannot be special summoned except by sending 3 face-up trap cards from your side of the field to the graveyard. Gains 1,000 attack for each continuous trap in your graveyard. Once per turn, you can destroy 1 set spell or trap on your opponent's side of the field. Spell and trap cards cannot be activated in response to this effect's activation. That's pretty good. That's a pretty solid effect. Build around for a nice trap deck. I can see that being pretty solid. I will say that I'm cheating and going to say that because you said they're getting more support, there's no way this is banned.
Oh yeah, no, these cards
are not possible.
Yeah. Now, fun fact, his effect is almost exactly the same from the anime. They only removed one effect from him, and that was where if he was killed in battle or by card effect, you could discard a trap card to spell summon him again. I don't know why they got rid of that. It would have been perfectly fine, but
that's having all these abilities on one card, that's pretty solid. That's an interesting yeah. No, that's a good card. I mean, I'm not gonna like if there was a effect, well, there is effects similar to this in Magic. There are creatures that gain bonuses to their attributes based on the number of spell cards in your graveyard or things like that. The issue is that the ability to exile someone's graveyard entirely is really, really prevalent in most competitive forms of Magic.
Yeah. Now, the bright side for Uriah is that in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's only really removal for opponent's monsters in the graveyard. There's a few cards that can get rid of their traps and spells, but not many.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of cards that'll just blanket. Like your opponent has no graveyard now. There's a land that does that. Bajuka Bog, you play it and you exile your opponent's entire graveyard.
Yeah.
It just doesn't cost anything, you just play it.
Yeah, now here is Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder.
Okay, cool. Alright. Cool big bug boy. Cannot roll summon or set. 3 face-up continuous spell cards from your side of the field to graveyard. When it destroys your opponent's monster in a battle and sets the graveyard and inflicts 1,000 damage to your opponent. When it's face-up defense position, your opponent cannot select another monster as an attack target. Okay, so it's just alright. Force your opponent has to attack this. If they attack, if it kills something, it deals 1,000 damage to your opponent.
Yeah.
Cool. It's a 4,000, which seems fairly small.
It's actually quite high in Yu-Gi-Oh! Generally speaking, if a monster is over 3,000 or at 3,000, it's not going to be getting run over in battle.
Yeah. At least compared to some of the larger threats that you've shown me. 4,000 seems a bit like, okay, that's good. It is good.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah. That's I play a lot of Hearthstone. Use that parlance. It's a taunt creature that forces your opponents to make a choice between trying to kill this or hurting themselves.
Basically.
Yeah. Solid. Good. Good build around card.
Then we got Raphael, Lord of Phantasm.
Oh, that's a large lad. Alright, here we go. I see a theme in how they're summoned. Tribute 3 fiend type monsters.
Yep.
Each time your opponent normal summons a monster, special summon 1 Phantasm token. Fiend type Dark level 1, attack 1,000, defense 1,000. It cannot declare an attack. Once per turn, retrieving 1 monster. This card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack until the end phase. So it makes coins that you sacrifice to give this 1,000 plus 1,000 plus 1,000.
Or you can use for other things.
Right. So they're fiend type tokens that you can use to tribute stuff. All right. That's pretty solid. I can respect that. Yeah, probably the easiest way to handle that instead of making so they can't declare an attack. I suppose it also allows them to be declared defense, which means that they can like block or things like that. I can see that being advantageous. Yeah, It's a cool fiend type build around. I can respect a good build around card. Those three are, you know, pretty solid. Here is a deck waiting to be built. Like, very obvious. Here is an archetype that you want to lean into.
Yeah, they have a bunch of other support that's currently out, most notably a field spell that makes it to where they cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and also lets you draw 2 cards once per turn so long as you have one of them on the field. There's also a monster that just says straight up, you tribute this card that's on the field, and then summon any of them from your deck for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And then they have a fusion monster who is 10,000 attack while you're on your turn.
Well, not on your turn.
On your opponent, only on your turn. On your opponent's turn, he has 0.
Okay.
But with 10k attack, any swing from that thing is basically going to be game.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's all their support that they have right now. I didn't think it was really noteworthy to bring out the others other than just to kind of mention them. Yeah. Hoping that the new support coming out in the structure deck is going to make them viable as their own archetype, but
I could see that becoming a thing. It is they seem very reasonable to build a deck around. I can respect that pretty solidly.
Okay.
So, all right, what fresh hell do we have now?
This is Cyber's Clock Dragon.
Oh boy, that's also small text. Okay, it's a fusion, so I know that's a Cyberse. Is that just a robot?
Is
that something else?
It stands for, I don't know the exact thing, but basically it's a cybernetic organism that lives in, it's basically a Digimon.
Cool. Digimon.
The entire...
Digimon fusion. Good.
Yeah, the entire story of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, the most recent anime, is basically Digimon are real. It's basically Digimon. I'm not even joking. It literally is basically Digimon. Jeez. So. The look on your face. Okay.
Okay. So, let me, if I am understanding this correctly. You summon this.
Yep.
You can put 20 cards off your deck into your graveyard if you want to, or however many you want.
Depending on what you use for its fusion summon.
Depending on its fusion summon, equal to the link rating of that. Until the end of the next turn, other monsters you control can attack, and this gets 1,000 attack for each card sent to the graveyard. So it's very big depending on the link material. As long as you control a link material, they cannot target anything else. That's for attacks. And your opponent cannot target other monsters you control card effects, so only this.
Yes.
And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can have 1 spell from your deck. So it lets you buff this up huge. The power effect remains. The power effect stays for permanently. Okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, alright. It took a little bit of work to parse that out. My brain's in deck building mode now. My brain's like, how would I want to make that work? I'm going to assume that this card is quite powerful because it also, that little tagline of if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a spell from your deck to your hand. That seems like it's quite strong. The ability to make all of your other monsters untouchable leads me to believe that this is both a heavy beat stick and also support for probably some kind of an archetype that is enabling some kind of degeneracy to happen on the sidelines.
Kind of.
I'm not sure how much Link monsters or I don't know how good those...
Link monsters are basically all that people play nowadays.
Okay, so probably pretty good. I don't think this is good enough to be fully banned, depending on what it is protecting. If what it is protecting is brutal and unfun, then yes, this is banned, because this is the protection supporting it. I will say that this is either 2 or 1.
He's currently at 3.
Really? All right. I was actually
it's
giving
mostly,
it a little bit of credit. I thought that it would be a bit stronger than that.
It's mostly because the archetype he's in is just not very good.
All right.
They can summon him consistently, along with getting a decent board out. But raw power, which is what he's all about. The protection effect is nice, but raw power, which is what he's really all about, is not particularly great in Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays. I mean, don't get me wrong, summoning that thing, sending 10 cards from the top of your deck and jacking it up to like 12,800, that is scary. That can really end the game easy. But he's a game ender. He's not meant to stick around for very long. Generally speaking, if you're summoning him, you're going for game. And right now...
And I guess the effect of him drawing all the hate from your opponent isn't necessary, because being that big, he's going to draw all the hate from your opponent anyways.
Kind of. Now, granted...
Null and void
ability. Now, granted, the other really big ones from Cybers, they have a Synchro and they have a Ritual that do the targeting protection as well, and it can't be destroyed by card effect thing. And generally speaking, the way that they kind of want to play right now is getting either the Fusion, the Synchro, or the Ritual out, along with one of the Link monsters who says that it and the monsters it points to can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. So basically, you have them out, you have the Synchro, Fusion, or Ritual, 2 of them out, along with that Link monster. And it makes it to where all 3 of them cannot be destroyed by battle, card effects, or targeted by card effects.
pretty good. Sounds good. Yeah. You can't touch these. These are my toys. Go home.
Yeah, and and considering that the Ritual and the Synchro are so much easier to summon than the Fusion, they're just generally played more often. And heck, the Synchro's honestly even better too. I'll probably show them to you eventually too, but compared to them, he's just not as good.
Well, so far, without counting the 3 freebies on these, because you basically said that these were getting more support, I'm currently, I believe, 2 for 5 on appropriate guesses, so that's bad. But if we add these in, I'm currently 5 for 8, which is much better.
Yeah. So now then we got another fun one with a lot of small text.
Okay.
This is Vanaminaga, the deity of poisonous snakes.
Thank you for saying that out loud, because I would have butchered it quite badly. Oh good, it's a reptile effect. I was concerned for a moment. I thought
what? It's a waifu, don't you know that?
It wouldn't be a reptile. This lady made of snakes would be non-reptilian. Special summoned with Rise of the Snake Deity. It cannot be special summoned by other ways except its own effect. Gains 500 attack for each reptile in your graveyard. It cannot be targeted by and is unaffected by spell, trap cards, and other effect monsters' effects. When destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish one of the reptile monsters from your graveyard, special summon it. When it inflicts battle, your opponent plays Hyper Venom counter on it. When 3 Hyper Venom counters are on it, you win the duel. Okay. Is there a way to duplicate counters that are already on a card?
In certain archetypes, yes, but not with
reptiles.
Not with that. And it's got to be specifically Hyperventum
Right, that's why I said duplicate counters that are on a token, not placed counters on a card. Okay. So, Magic has poisonous. There's already is a mechanic in the game. You get, if the creatures deal poison damage, you get 10 poison counters, you lose the game. And there's mechanics for that. That's not an unfamiliar concept. Rise of the Snake Deity. How hard is it to cause Rise of the Snake Deity?
So she belongs to an archetype called Venom. It's one of the older archetypes in the game. And basically, how that works is Rise of the Snake Deity is a trap card. It says, when Phenomenon, the king of poisonous snakes, is destroyed by a card effect, you can summon her from your hand or deck. And then Phenomenon is a monster who has basically the same effect as her, but is not unaffected by everything. And that's a big, and also does not have the insta-win condition either.
Gotcha. Okay.
So basically, your opponent kills him. Okay, activate.
Here's a better one.
Yeah, okay. Who's unaffected by everything. The PSCT on her is kind of old, and that's even her most recent printing of her. PSCT is problem-solving card text. So
yes,
I didn't know if that was a thing.
No, it's not. I could assume that it's a bit old, though. As you say that, it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so nowadays it just say unaffected by all card effects, but they got back then they had to explain everything because kids are stupid. So
not just kids.
A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players.
I didn't say that.
To be fair, a lot of people. I can't tell you how many people don't read cards and then are like, "What? That does that?"
Our RTFC error. Read the fucking card.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is benefited by having a lot of reptiles in the graveyard. Every time it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can banish other monsters out of the graveyard to bring it back. Do the Hypervenom counters stay on it after it dies?
No, they do not.
Okay. Defense 0 means that it dies if it's hacked?
No.
What does defense 0 mean?
How defense works is, defense is only... Defense is only taken into consideration if the monster is in defense mode.
Okay.
Where basically...
Otherwise it compares attacks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that case, it compares the attack of the attacking monster to the defense of the defending monster. Okay. And if the attack of the attacking monster is over the defense, the monster is destroyed, but no damage is taken.
Gotcha. Okay.
Unless, like, the creature is piercing or something like that.
Right. Is the reptile archetype defined by putting a lot of creatures in the graveyard?
Depends on which specific archetype you're talking about.
That the whatever deck she would show up in. Is it have support for that? Technically
yes, but also no. It's so weird because Venom is all about a field spell called Venom Swamp that at the end of each player's turn puts a counter on every monster that's not a Venom monster, and a monster with a Venom counter loses 500 for every counter on it, and then once it hits 0 attack from that counter, it kills itself. Mm-hmm. This was pulled out of nowhere for the anime to just kind of be incredible boss monster for the main character to deal with. That being said, whenever this archetype did release, we got a spell card called Snake Rain that says discard 1 card, send 5 reptiles from your deck to the graveyard. Or it's 4, I can't remember, it's 4 or 5. And so right there, if you discarded a reptile for that, you get 5 reptiles in your graveyard. And that's 2,000 attack for her minimum.
Refresh my memory.
Mm-hmm.
What's the starting life for
8,000?
8,000. Okay, so as long as you have 1 reptile in your graveyard and she makes contact, she essentially has like 2,500 attack, give or take, because she deals a third. She deals a third of your opponent's life in 1 hit because she takes 3 counters.
Well, if you have 1 reptile in the graveyard, she has 500 attack.
Right. She hits, you get a counter that's 1/3 of the way to being dead.
Oh yeah, for the counter.
For all intents and purposes.
I thought you were talking about the life point.
For all intents and purposes, she deals a third of your life in every attack. Essentially. The untouchable effect is big. The fact that she can only be...
She was also the first monster with that clause. Unaffected by all other card effects. And that forces your opponent to have to find a way of running her over in battle, and even if they do, she just summons herself back.
So... Given that there are hoops to jump through to get to her, and it's a multi-hoop, does the Snake King need hoops?
He's a level 8, and while there are ways to cheese him out on the field, if you draw into him, he's kind of a dead draw.
Okay, so...
Because you have to normal summon him from your hand, and there's not many ways of special summoning him from your hand, so you gotta like tribute 2 monsters to summon him. Ideally, you want to get him in the graveyard to bring him back with a card called Limit Removal, which says target a monster in the graveyard with less than 500 attack power, special summon it, and if it goes into defense, destroy it. So what you do is you get him in the graveyard, activate... no, it's Limit Reverse, not Limit Removal. Bring him back during your opponent's end phase, switch over to your turn, switch him to defense, he gets nuked, activate Rise of Snake Deity. That's like the main way of doing it.
Okay, so it's a 2 to 3 step combo to get her out, which can be interacted with at various points in the combo. She is not an instant death sentence, and is it takes at least 3 turns, if not more, to kill. I would say she's at 2 or 3. I would say she's probably not banned because she's got so many hoops and restrictions. She's so hard to actually kill with. Despite the fact that she's very resilient, I would say that she's not going to be...
You are right, she's at 3.
Right.
There's unaffected by card effects. While it can be annoying for certain monsters, she is the worst of them purely because she's the oldest with the hardest summoning restriction.
Yeah, anything that has that many hoops to jump through, especially if the counters don't remain, there's no reason for that to be banned.
Okay, next up we got another request from my fans. Thunder Dragon Colossus.
Good, yes, yes. Hey, not a lot of text, cool. Must be either fusion, summoned, or special summoned during the turn a Thunder monster's effect was activated in the hand by attributing 1 Thunder effect non-fusion monster, in which case you do not use polymerization. Cards cannot be added from the main deck to your opponent's hand except by drawing them. If this card will be destroyed by a card effect, you banish 1 Thunder monster from your graveyard instead. I'm going to innately say this is at 1 or banned.
It's at 3 right now?
It's at 3.
I will say it's at 1 in Japan.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people who want it at 1.
That would be my assumption, is because of the simple phrase, cards cannot be added from the main deck to your opponent's hand except by drawing them, which means it negates all tutors.
Yep.
And all tutor effects, which you have told me enough about the meta for me to know that it's very strong.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
and currently Thunder Dragons is one of the best decks in the game. And it's mainly because Colossus is like one of the best cards because he can directly counter one of the best decks. I mean, the best deck in the game. Because that deck searches ridiculous amounts. And not to mention he's incredibly hard to kill because if you would kill him, I can just banish a Thunder Monster instead. And on top of that, the deck he's in, the Thunder Dragon archetype, they would get effects whenever they're banished. So, you would destroy him, okay, banish my dude, and then add another guy from my deck to my hand. Off of his effect.
Sounds pretty solid.
Next up, we got a card that I know is going to be... It's going to be interesting seeing your reaction to, because the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community's reaction to was quite hilarious.
Alright.
Nibiru, the Primal Being.
Okay.
Ever heard of Primex?
Let's try and interpret this art real quick. It's hard with all this foil.
It's a meteor.
It's a meteor.
With probably something
Some
inside.
eyeballs or something.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with the shiny.
Oh, good. Rock effect. Good, yes.
It's a big meteor, it's a rock.
During the main phase, your opponent normal or special summon 5 more monsters this turn. As a quick effect, you may tribute as many face-up monsters on the field as possible. And if you do... Oh, that's great. I just love that phrase. You may get rid of as many as possible, which can be 0. Special summon this card from your hand. Then special summon 1 Primal Being token, Rock, Light, level 11, attack, defense, to your opponent's field. Its attack defense become the combined original attack against the tributed monsters. You can only use this effect to... What? If your opponent normal or special summons 5 more monsters, you can empty your entire board and give them a giant creature.
Yes.
Only once per turn, though.
Yes.
Are you okay? Blink twice if you need help. Is everything alright? What the fuck? Why would anyone ever play this? What is the point? Maybe I just nuke my board and give you a huge creature. Why? What on earth could be the upside of this card? What possibly could be the benefit to this card?
I've told you about the meta plenty of times.
Yes.
The game is currently in a state where the opponent, if they go first and they make a board of 15 plus negates, they win. This card, if you use it at the right time, will get rid of all of those. Okay, so let's say you're going. Let's say your opponent's going first. Okay, they summon. They go through their. They start doing their combos. Okay, and they're getting ready to make their big negator. Okay, their first negate. Okay, and they have 3 monsters on board, but they've summoned 5 monsters the entire turn to make that board to then go into the bigger board and eventually get their negates out. You activate Niburu
because there's limited field space.
Yes.
Yugioh. That is why.
Yes.
That is why you would do it. Is because there is limited field space. So you use this to block up their field.
Not exactly. So, as I was saying, okay.
I'm wrong. All right.
Okay. Let's take for instance Thunder Dragons. Okay. Thunder Dragons on their first turn will typically summon about 5 to 6 monsters, including 2 to 3 Colossuses. Okay. Okay. You activate Niburu. Okay. Before they end their turn, they've summoned 5 monsters. You tribute all of those Colossuses. Because it's not being destroyed, they can't use Colossus' effect to save himself. It's tributing. And then you summon Niburu, you summon the token in defense.
I misread. I thought you could only tribute from your own field.
Nope.
You can tribute their entire field.
Yep.
Okay, so it's wipe the entire field and give your opponent one large
token
ability-less token.
Yes. Because the game has gotten to a point where it is so bad that we need cards like this to balance it. This card was released in the most recent tins as a promo.
Wow.
The other 2 cards are also intended to balance out the game because of how bad it's gotten.
Geez.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a
It's a card to help you go second, so you don't
turn all your creatures into an amalgam. Or all your enemy creatures into an amalgam with no abilities.
Now that being said, you need to be careful about when you use it, because if you don't use it at the right time, your opponent can get a negate out to stop the Niburu. Or even worse, if you don't use it at the right time and you don't have a follow-up to get rid of that giant token,
then you're just dead.
Yes.
Right.
Now, I do have one more.
It makes sense. It's weird as hell.
Yep.
But I can see how it would solve that issue specifically.
Yeah, it helps a lot. But it's more of a band-aid on the bigger issue. Along with the other two cards, who I actually did not pick out because I don't think they're too crazy that you'll get a good reaction to. But seeing your reaction to Niburu, mostly because you misread it.
Well, I mean, I read it, and it's just, what the fuck? It says a lot. It's weird.
Now then, I got this one final card to show you. I don't actually own this card, so I had to pull it up online.
I don't know any of the cards that I'm showing you.
Yep. This is Chaos and Roller. Roller of the beginning and the end.
Long ass name. Yeah, wow, that is a long ass name. That kerning is difficult. Okay, banish one light warrior type, one dark fiend type from your graveyard. And special summon cards and effects cannot be activated. Pay 1,000 life points, banish all cards from your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard, then inflict 500 damage to your opponent from each card banished by this effect. Cool. Yep. That seems a little strong.
So he empties out your opponent's board.
And their board, their graveyard, and then deals damage to them for every card gotten rid of that way.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds...
And he can still attack, and he's 3,500.
That sounds, sounds pretty strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like, you probably win the game if you played that card.
Yes.
Especially if no one was specifically playing around it, and if their graveyard happens to have a lot of spells or creatures or things like that, it seems like a good way to just probably nuke your opponent off the effect alone.
Yeah.
By the time he comes down.
So, want to know the funny thing?
Yeah, let's make me laugh.
He's not real.
Good.
Chaos and Roar was featured in one episode of the 4th anime, Zexal.
Was that the motorcycles or?
No, that was the one where it was basically Dragon Ball Yugioh. Okay, I'm not joking. The main character would go Super Saiyan. And so Chaos and Roar, he wasn't actually featured in a duel either. There was a whole episode about him and the deck he was in where it was stated that it was one of the many, so Zexal went through a lot of plot issues and they set up a bunch of stuff to never deliver on it. And Chaos and Roar and the deck he was in were in one episode from like season 1 of Zexal where these two thieves tried to steal what is said to be the most powerful deck in the game. And you very briefly get like a screenshot of Chaos and Roar on the front of the deck, and people, of course, would pause it, read it, and they're like, "Holy crap!" To my knowledge, he's never mentioned again either. Like, this deck is supposed to be the strongest deck in the world, and never once does the main character think, "Huh, the world is about to end. Maybe I should go get that deck that is supposed to be the strongest in the world." And so, yeah, it was one of those plot points that never went anywhere, and it's one of those cards that people both want to see printed one day and never want to see printed one day.
Interesting.
I just wanted to show you because the anime can get bonkers with its card text and what cards do and everything. That was actually a picture of an Orca somebody made to like proxy and play in a duel.
You could have probably just stopped at anime is bonkers and just kind of left it at that by itself. No prior or post text needed.
Alrighty, so that's all the cards I have for now to show. What do you think?
They are interesting. Your cards do too much in a single card effect. I prefer my combos the old-fashioned way, 12 cards deep. That's a lot on one card. That font is so small. Wow, guys, that's bad for your eyes.
I'm surprised there's not more Yu-Gi-Oh players with glasses.
Yeah, you need them after that. That's painful.
So we're going to go ahead and end this here, and then we'll see you again when Joe here has some magic cards to show me. And I believe you wanted to shout out your channel or something?
Yeah, so if you guys like hearing my voice at all, I don't know why you would, but hey, if you like it, more power to you. I am streaming every single Monday and Saturday afternoon with a group of my other friends on twitch.tv/Grand Galaxy Gathering. We're currently on a little bit of a hiatus for the holidays. We should be back on December 9th, Monday night. We stream all sorts of video games and stuff like that. If you want to stop by, feel free and check us out. We are just kind of getting our feet underneath of us and rebuilding the channel. So
yeah, and I'll link you down below to them so you can find it. Which reminds me, you gotta send me that link. So guys.
I have. That's okay.
Oh, you did? Oh yeah, that's right, you did.
Yes.
So guys,
I didn't know you should watch the stream before, but that's okay.
A year ago. Anyways, guys, so that was that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys look forward to more. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. See you later, and peace out. Thank you all for watching the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And see y'all later.